Hello, hello, hello. How are y'all? How are we? I think I'm live. Happy Wednesday. Okay. Want to make sure that I could hear the volume, make sure I'm good. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday to you all. We're going to not be here long. We got some things to cover. I am still yet trying to lift my spirits from the voters' rights fiasco. Okay. I got the volume now. So we're good on that. We're good to go. We're going to cover a couple things. One, off of the title, is like the DNC really. The person that's over the DNC did a interview. Hey, hey, Riz. Thanks for stopping through. Um, the DNC fella did an actual interview, and it was horribly. Um, Based off of the things that are going on in America, what I need for Black Americans to understand is like, you're not going to vote your way out of this. Like, it's going to have to take strategic efforts. It's going to have to take really good plans. It's going to have to take going in with eyes wide open. I think from what we saw with the Supreme Court, that shows that side of what typically should be normal is that gateway is a bit different now. And then if we look at the DNC and what they're trying to put out, I don't think that people should be putting their hopes on midterms. You need to vote in midterms for sure, but the state and local are going to be the most efficient and the most effective. You are not going to be able to vote your way out of this. Is beyond the voting at this point. So we're going to watch what the DNC chair had to say. I have a clip of two women that are Danielle Moody and Bituation. They both have very thriving podcasts. A clip of them actually responding to what the DNC said. And then also, the government, of course, is lying about what's going on in Iran and the number of bases that have been absolutely demolished and destroyed. But you know me, we always got to start off with something a little funsy. I always want to have a little musical. So, let's see here. Let me see. Let me blow it up. Let me turn it up. Because at this point, it's a strut and a walk for me. It's a strut and a walk. I think that Donald Trump is a useful agent. He's very useful. He's a useful agent. We're going to go in and let's start to review what the DNC had to say. I found it to be, the interview was jarring. The interview was absolutely jarring. I was appalled and offended. At this point, these people are not even attempting to like play in our face. This is disgusting. Let's see, let me blow it up. And let me turn it up. And then let's get our speed. This is probably this is one of the most condescending interviews I've seen in a very long time. But we'll just share and we'll just talk through it. And I don't even think, we're definitely not going to watch all 30 minutes of it. There's no way. I'm going to bump him up to even 1.5. So
Yeah, thanks for having me back on, John. It was great to see you the other night at the Grinder party of all parties. It was amazing.
I know. I wish I hadn't run out of alcohol by the time I arrived, but that's neither here nor there. Quick bit of context for listeners. This all came about because you expressed some frustration about criticism of the DNC coming from our direction. So I appreciate you coming on to talk about it directly. I'll just say up front, we share the goal of making sure Democrats win everywhere, especially the White House in 2028. I also very much understand you've got one of the hardest jobs in politics that you took at an especially tough time for the party. But I do want to press you on some specific things because I think the stakes are too high not to. Does that sound fair?
Sounds great, John. Thank you. Appreciate it.
So I want to start with the 2024 autopsy, which you call an after-action review. When you won the chairmanship in February of 25, you criticized the DNC's refusal to release their 2016 autopsy as exactly what not to do. You said, quote, was there any utility in doing that? And then promised your 2024 autopsy would be different. Your exact quote was, of course it will be released. Why did you change your mind on that?
Well, look, I mean, what I said all along, even when I ran for this position, is that we were going to focus on the things that will help us win the upcoming election, right? Making sure that we learn the right lessons that could help inform our victories. And that's what we've done. We said this when we sent out the press release back in November saying we weren't going to release the report. We were going to actually keep our focus on those lessons. And we released those lessons. We continue to do that. And it's important for me, instead of navel gazing and looking backwards and trying to relitigate 2024. I don't know about you, John, but I don't have a time machine. I don't think you do. No one does. So we can't change what happened in 24. The only thing we can.
So what he's saying in right now that we're not going to release. Let me explain what's going on. So back in my corporate America days, I worked in what was called like a network operations centers, a NOC, and I did fiber optic modeling for years. And anytime we had a major outage, you would have what's called a post-mortem. The post-mortem is basically what caused the outage so that what can we do to prevent what happened. The DNC did a post-mortem. What he is saying is, yes, we did a post-mortem. Yes, we know what the issues are, but we're not going to say what the issues are because we don't want to live in the past. I'm going to tell you right now that in a nutshell, the DNC probably found out that one, you pissed your base off. You spent too much money. So your base is Black Americans. You pissed those people off. Two, you absolutely believed that you were way far ahead with Latinos than you could before, which is absolutely wild. The other thing is they went for this being in the middle, these mysterious, I will add you. Thank you so much for enjoying the streams. They wanted so bad to get this middle-aged, middle-income white American that was going to come out and be a swing voter. And that's just not a thing. So we're going to talk about what is going to happen with the DNC. Hey, Raleigh, thanks for being here. We're going to talk about what the DNC is doing right now and the mistakes that they're making on top of the judgment that happened with the Supreme Court. Black Americans are literally free agents, and this is the most power our vote is going to have, and that it has had in a long time. I think a lot of people, and again, I can say, like, I found it absolutely appalling, the judgment. And that's one thing. Here's the other thing, though. They don't plan for the now. They're thinking 2020, 2024, and not understanding that in 2026, you've pissed so many other people off that you are not going to be able to reap the same thing on top of the economy, on top of when we see what happened to those bases and these people lying. But if this is who people are supposed to hinge their betterment on for 2026, this is the leader of the DNC. Listen to what this man is saying. He's lying.
Can do is actually change what happens in the future, including the 26 election cycle, 28 and beyond. That means we do need to learn the lessons. We need to make sure they help inform our decisions that we're making. And we've been releasing those. We released them just a couple months ago in our playbook, which if you want to look at that, go to dnc.org/playbook, and you can get an example of some of the lessons. We've been releasing them with our donors and with activists and party leaders. We've been talking about what those lessons are, and we've actually been putting those lessons into action. And so it's not completely accurate to say that we didn't release that. Where we're keeping our focus is on the lessons that can actually help us win.
But on this show in August, you told me this about releasing the review, quote, "We have to do it to give people who invested so much time, energy, and money a sense of what happened and why we lost."
Correct.
Especially why we lost. So what changed between August and December? I understand there are lessons, but those are not the full report. Why not release the full report? What's in the report that you wouldn't want?
Well, first off,
publicized?
there's no smoking gun in the report. And I know that's what everyone's so eager to learn. I mean, the smoking gun. Guess what, John?
But if there's no smoking gun, why wouldn't you just release it then?
Because we want to keep the focus on the lessons. Because what ends up happening here is that people, of course, want to weaponize the report in a way to look backwards, to point fingers, place blame in a way that actually doesn't keep us focused on the upcoming election. But instead, the navel gazing of focusing backwards actually takes us backwards. We're 189 days from this election, John. What we don't need to be focused on is actually relitigating 2024. What we need to do is learn the lessons of 24 and the years preceding that can help us win this upcoming election. That's why we've been releasing them. That's why we've been focused in on actually putting those lessons into action. And there's nothing that I told you in August that is inaccurate. We've been sharing those lessons out with donors. We've been talking about this with party leaders and activists and others and organizations and campaigns. It's no surprise to, and I get it. I get why people are obsessed with it, because there's various groups and organizations and people who think there's some sort of smoking gun in there. Guess what, Sean? In the third closest presidential election in the last 100 years, everything mattered. There's nothing that didn't impact that election.
But why did you spend the money going to 50 states, doing all these interviews, doing all this stuff, and doing this report in the first place, if you weren't going to release the full results of it? Like, why? I don't get why just you and some of the senior DNC people get to see it, but not most of the DNC members who are, state party chairs. I mean, more than a dozen DNC members told NBC just the other week they want it released, including Congresswoman Delia Ramirez and North Carolina Democratic Party Chair Anderson Clayton. And Anderson said, quote, "Genuinely, what did you all find that we did not?" How did you answer that question?
What we found is the things we've been telling them about Anderson, Delia, other folks who have concerns about it. We've shared all of the lessons with them, right? And so again, I think, John, the reality is you're proving my point here, right? People are obsessed about this in a way that continues to turn them away from wanting to focus on the lessons and instead thinking that there's some sort of smoking gun in here that's going to give them the one single reason that Kamala Harris lost the election, or the one single thing that we should have done differently that's going to actually help us win in the future. There is no one single thing that cost Kamala the election. There is no one single thing that we can do to help us win the upcoming election. There's a number of lessons for sure that will help us win in 26 and beyond. But again, I understand what you're saying, John. We'll just have to agree to disagree on this because, we have already started to put those lessons into action. I'm proud of the results of what we've seen over the last year and a half since I've been elected. We have significant wind at our back, and we're going to continue to move forward. And we're going to continue to put those lessons we've learned into action, and I hope others will start to do the same.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out, because it certainly doesn't seem like anyone's looking for one single silver bullet, because it's a 200-page report. So I feel like in a 200-page report, there's a lot of lessons for everyone to take. And if you're going to operationalize it, then I think the question is, like, are you operationalizing it on behalf of people who didn't actually get to see the report? So, like, do they know what they're agreeing to when they operationalize lessons from the report if they haven't been able to read the report?
John, you're proving the point.
What's the point?
I mean, the point is
So I think this is a great observation. And I put the actual link in the live chat, and I'll come back and add it to the actual video. Like I said, I was in corporate America, and I worked almost I want to say from probably 1999, 2000 to, I think I was in corporate to maybe 2014, and strategically worked my way up into leadership. I want for you to see, if you don't have access to how white men battle each other, this is what corporate America looks like. This is where one white man knows that the other white man is effing with him, and they're calling each other to task. And this is how they go around the mulberry bush. Like, watch the interaction. Like, they're not being aggressive in tone, but they're exchanging. This is a corporate verbal fight where one person knows the other person is bullshitting them, and how they're going back and forth. Watch this, and also use this as be an observer to kind of understand, like, is somebody playing with you? Because the one to the right is playing with the one to the left. The man in the black jacket is playing with the guy in just the white crew. So let's just continue to watch, and just watch the exchange and listen to what's being said. Really pay attention.
The obsession on the report without actually focusing in on the lessons. People believe there's some sort of magic silver bullet in there that's going to solve all of our ills at the Democratic Party. There's
Yeah.
not. And I understand.
I don't think
understand the point
there's
you're
going to be a
making.
magic silver bullet, though. Who thinks that? No one thinks it's good. No one thinks there's a magic silver bullet. It's a 200-page report. You interview people in 50 states. You spend a lot of donor money on it. I think people are probably wondering, like,
we didn't spend a lot of donor money on that, and that's just inaccurate.
You spent a couple $100,000 on it, right?
No, we did not.
It was a free report.
We did not spend a couple $100,000 on that. The person and people who were involved in it were not paid to do this work. And so I would just say that's inaccurate, John. So I'm not sure where you would even get that number. And so did you have some sort of record that shows we spent any money on that?
I've seen reporting that you did spend money on it. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, well, that's inaccurate. Okay, the person who has to do this is an unpaid advisor to the DNC. And so I appreciate where it's coming from, John, but let's just trade in facts on this, right? The reality is we did talk to, hundreds of people. It was an exhaustive exercise to really get at what are those key lessons. And I want to be very clear. There's nothing that changed from what I said on the campaign trail to now, which is
when you were on the campaign trail and you talked about definitely releasing an autopsy and criticized the DNC for not releasing an autopsy in 2016. In your mind, you thought, I'm going to do one, but only release certain lessons and not the full report. No,
what I said at the time is exactly what I've been saying now, which is we have to focus on the things that help us win the future elections.
They're sparring. The girls are fighting. The girls are fighting.
We have to focus on those lessons. We have to do this exercise, by the way, of conducting this analysis so that we actually learn what happened, not just in 24, but in the years preceding that, John. And so that's where our focus is. I mean, the challenge is, think about this as an executive summary of like you said, a 200-page document. And I think what we've put together and what we learn, we are sharing with people. So they have full insight into what we actually need to course correct on as we go into these final 189 days left and into the future. So again,
are you going to release? You mentioned executive summary. Are you going to release an official executive summary? Make that public.
We've been releasing that, John. That's what I've been saying to you.
Well, you said lesson. There's the Democratic playbook, the playbook that you said you can sign up for in DNC for sure. But I know that NBC News said that before Easter about a month ago, you told DNC officers on a call to expect an executive summary in short order. Officers on that call told NBC they still haven't received one. You told a North Carolina DNC member who was drafting a resolution to force the report's release that a summary was forthcoming, and he backed off based on that promise. So you've been saying in coming weeks on the executive, like when can people expect an accurate?
We've already been sharing that with a number of folks, and we'll continue to share it with folks, including the DNC and other people. The reality is we're not hiding the ball on this. We have been sharing those things out. Happy to get you over, what we have been sharing out, John. The reality is that there's no smoking gun here. And as much as people would like to keep focusing in on those pieces, what they're ignoring is that we're sharing out the lessons. We have been incorporating those, and we have actually been putting those lessons into action, which I'm most proud of.
You're not going to vote your way out of this, because that's the head of the DNC that refuses to share a postmortem, that continues to talk about lessons, but not giving hard data that they paid for, that he's underwater on, not giving the information. That, like, really, girl, they're lying to us. They're lying to us. Every once in a while when I feel like I'm being lied to, I like to indulge in things. I like to indulge in ice cream and cookies and, different stuff like that. My latest indulgements have been these little ditties. Let's see what he's going to give me. Let me turn it in. I can't stand AI. I think it is a horrible, evil type of thing. But this, to me, this is a kind of funny and carrying on. Like, do you see how the hair flips up? Let's just watch it one more time. Watch when the hair flips. When the wind catches it. It's the flip up for me, sis. So you got the DNC lying to us. Now, the next clip I'm going to show, and I'm going to start putting in some of the people that I watch politically. This is going to be Danielle Moody and Francesca from habituation. I will also, I'm going to drop this down. I will make sure that I add this so you can watch the full interview. They both do daily streams. Francesca was really, really heavy also with the Epstein files. And I think at one point she might have been like a TYTer, and is no longer with them. But she seems to give, I don't always agree, and I don't agree with everything everybody says. And if you know me, when I say this, you're going to be like, girl, what? Danielle Moody is a tether. But I know that she, you know what? I will not say that. She's not a tether. She's a Black immigrant. I think she may be even first generation. But she has a really, really good stream. And she really, she loves Black people. Let me slow this down. Take it to 0.25. And I want for you to hear what she's saying. And again, understand we're not voting our way out of this. We're not.
Think about the fact that, at one time I was a congressional Black fellow, which is how I got to cut my teeth in policy and in politics on the Hill. And, I think about the way that the large number of members in these districts were celebrated, right? Like, oh, we've reached this, this incredible pinnacle, this incredible point, and how all of those seats are in jeopardy. Every single one of those seats are in jeopardy, right? Because they were actualized because of the Voting Rights Act. Those districts were created because of the Voting Rights Act, where Black people had representation, right? Latino people had representation, right? And now that is not going to be the case, right? And so, I before we switch gears to the war, which everyone has forgotten about, but will soon remember, as you are in America, you may not be on the brink of starvation, but you may be on the brink of being broke, and that's about to get even harder. But before we do that, Hakeem Jefferies recently said that the focus for Democrats in midterms was about energy costs and building data centers.
Jesus Christ.
Your other reaction to that?
I mean, and I'm assuming he means pro data centers, right? Like,
oh yes. I'm sorry. Let me be clear. Pro building data centers because they are, quote, necessary, but also how do we keep energy costs down? Which is like, what are you talking about?
yeah, no, I mean, don't get me started because Janet Mills just vetoed her state's first attempt. I mean, they were going to ban data centers from Maine. Janet Mills, the handpicked,
So again, you're not voting your way out of this. The DNC, knowing that they're probably going to win in 2026, their focus is data centers. The things that suck up resources. They're not going to create jobs long term because they're unmanned. And we really don't want them. So the oligarchs are plotting. And we are going to have to really figure out how we get out of this mess. But to see two people that were heavily invested in the Democratic Party, that both of them are just like, yeah, the writing's on the wall. We see the leader of the DNC that won't give the report. And that's the DNC in the sense of like the Democratic National Convention. Then you have Hakeem Jefferies, the DNC, one of the leaders, saying the goal is data centers, pro data center, that tend to be put in Black areas, that tend to, now you're not going to be able, like, you're literally going to have to fight to not be poisoned, and fight to not have your light bills raised, and fight to not have constant noises, and fight to not potentially get cancer, and fight to not have this ghastly structure in your environment. And we know where they're going to put them. This is a plot, this is a plan, and I need for my people to wake up. And one of the reasons why I need you to wake up is because they're lying to us. I'm not going to show the whole report again. I just like for you to get enough information for you to get curious, where you will go out and you will find the information for yourself, because nobody should be giving you all of your political takes. You should get enough information to get curious, to be able to make some important decisions for yourself. Let me see. Chat, work with me. Now they want to float up on me. Okay, so let's turn her up and let's just look and see, because the Saints, they're lying to y'all.
Of Iranian missile and drone strikes, this U.S. military base in the Gulf is transformed. This is Camp Buring in Kuwait, a vast desert hub for American forces, home to thousands of troops and even karaoke nights. It's one of many U.S. military facilities in the oil-rich Arabian Peninsula targeted by Iran, even as the U.S. and Israel pummeled its large arsenal. So just how hard has America's footprint in the Middle East been hit?
A CNN investigation found evidence of unprecedented destruction. We can reveal that strikes damaged at least 16 U.S. installations across 8 countries. According to our analysis and sourcing, that's the majority of American military positions in the region, and some of them are virtually unusable now.
Iran's targets? Multi-million-dollar aircraft like this, Boeing E-3 Century, which gave the U.S. a huge amount of visibility over the Gulf. It's out of production, and in today's money, it's worth nearly $500 million. Also, critical communications equipment, and crucially, radar systems, highly sophisticated, expensive, difficult to replace, and central to air defense. One U.S. source familiar with the damaged facilities told us that the scale of the hits was massive compared to what forces faced in Iraq and Afghanistan. According to the Pentagon, the U.S. evacuated more than 90% of Americans from U.S. positions. And experts say the war has created a dilemma. Is America's presence in the Gulf making the region safer, or is it becoming its Achilles heel? After weeks of Iranian missile and drone strikes, this U.S. military base in the Gulf.
So there are geopolitical channels. If you go to the CNN report, it will show that I want to say it was 16 bases, again, 16 bases across 8 different countries that were all but destroyed. Satellites, equipment, all kinds of things. So we are losing. Let me not say this because I am not in the military, nor am I a specialist. However, what I will say is I don't believe that we're getting true reports on the outcome of what's going on in Iran. I definitely do not believe that only 14 people have passed. I definitely believe that there's far more damage that has happened. And we need to be concerned that at all levels of government, we're being lied to, on top of the way that this market manipulation is happening and the way that our coffers are being spent. If we make it to 2028, we're going to be broke as fuck and in a very different America that we have got to prepare on how we want to rebuild. I am one that I believe in. Let it all burn down. Let it burn. We need something different. I want to finish off with Marco Rubio, which again, this was from his press conference yesterday. We'll do Pete Hexberg tomorrow. It's just, there's so many clips of him. And also just, if you love America, if you believe in citizenship, if you know any types of normalcy, this is so stressful and taxing, like on your nervous system, that I would highly advise, like, get the information that you need and then dip out. Because part of what I believe Steve Bannon talked about, the flooding the zone, they're doing so much in overwhelming our systems. They're giving so much information and almost trying to stress you out to the point to where you give up. Like, this is a ploy, this is a plot, this is also I believe like psychological warfare. So I'm putting this in so I know to go back and follow this person. Let's go. We've got one last thing, so let's see what little Marco Rubio has to say. Little Marco.
Secretary, many people want to know, what is your DJ name?
My DJ name?
Your DJ name.
You're not ready for my DJ name. All right, this has to be the last question.
I thought I finished with something silly. Like, at this point, are we voting our way out of this? Because if he may be the Republican nominee, because it's looking like JD Vance is probably just not. He's unlikable. We do know that there's money behind it. We know that they are pushing to have certain things done, but this is the state that we're in. The DNC is Republican-like. The Republicans have their own agenda. Part of the Republicans are white nationalists. They are what they are. They're white supremacist nationalists, and they've been planning this for a very long time. I feel like everybody is getting their pockets greased and lined except for the American people, and we've got to kind of wake up and understand, like, what the heck is really going on. With that being said, we are done. We had a short one. And we'll do more of this if we don't have interactions or have people that want to like come up. Then I'll just come in, give you the information, and go from there. But we always gotta go out with a little bit of something fun, right? Let's go. I can give. Not Trump said you will not continue to make fun of me. I will, sir. You finna play. Let me see. What the hell?